Clemente is the definitive documentary on the extraordinary life, career, and enduring legacy of Major League Baseball icon Roberto Clemente, told through stunning archival footage, never before heard recordings, and unprecedented interviews. The film reveals the story of a man who lived by his own uncompromising code. And without question, that code served Roberto Clemente well, along with his unquenchable competitive thirst. He was a fierce baseball player, and certainly in many ways just as fierce in his commitment to his own set of values and his commitment to his family. One of the truly great baseball players of all time, Roberto Clemente. We are joined today by the director of Clemente, David Altrogge. David, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me.
Given that this baseball icon tragically left us 53 years ago, was there something or someone who came to you or you talked to and inspired you to want to do this particular project? Let's talk about the inspiration behind Clemente.
Yeah, I mean, I started sort of dreaming of the film back in 2018, and I think it was just the world, the state of the world. It was just scary time to be alive. A lot of hatred, a lot of division, a lot of war, famine, and just like wanting a story that could inspire me and inspire others and inspire my kids that as people they're actually there's good in the world. There's good in the world, despite how bad things may look when you turn on the TV or open your phone. There are good people in the world, and I think I grew up about an hour outside of Pittsburgh, and as a kid, I remember hearing that this baseball player died helping people, and I thought, man, maybe there's something there. And I started to do research and was just totally blown away as I learned about him and his life. Of course, what he did on the field, but really it was his life off the field that just I found so deeply moving.
Yeah, and the thing that is inspiring about his life outside of the lines was not only was he a giving and generous man and a man that was not impressed with celebrity,
Yeah,
but
that was
also the
yeah,
fact that he had a code of commitment to standing up and respecting himself and respecting those around them as long as they showed him respect.
yeah, yeah.
Eh,
No, I mean, I think he was such a fascinating character to explore because on one hand, he was this incredibly just kind, empathetic person, but also like he just had a lot of courage and moxie, and he w wasn't going to take crap from anyone. Wasn't going to just sit by and let people mistreat him.
And I'm not surprised, and I can't say that I knew that when I was a fan of his back when he was playing, but he carried himself so
Yeah,
well, and I'll even go a little bit further. The way he played the game was with such abandon and
yep,
such a physically gifted person.
yeah,
There was just so much there to be, I'll say, in love with. He really
yeah,
was a very, for me, a very charismatic athlete.
yeah. I mean, you look at photos of him, I think, that was, when I got into it and then started thinking about doing this seriously, I connected with, there's an amazing museum here in Pittsburgh called the Clemente Museum. And the executive director, the founder, Dwayne Reeder, has amassed this huge archive of photographs. Dwayne came on very early as an executive producer, and I think it was seeing this collection of photographs, these stunning images, like and you're blown away. He takes your breath away. There's just something about the aura he gives off. And I'm not like a real like woo woo person, but I'm like when you go into this museum and you see these photos, they hit you. And as a filmmaker, I was like, oh my goodness, like I just these photos are stunning, and the way Dwayne has preserved them, and it's just yeah. I mean, I can only imagine what it was like to actually see him in real life on the field, like you got to.
Yeah. I think, again, he played with such abandon and he was so physically gifted. He was such a coordinated,
Yeah.
even though, technically you look at his baseball swing, not the most beautiful swing that you'll ever see in the history of baseball, but there was something about it that fit his personality too,
Yeah,
as well.
yeah. I mean, in the film Francisco Lindor, I think he puts it perfectly. He's like, he played, the way he played was like wild, but also very in control. Like, there's this like combination of like, he brought this sort of an energy that, especially, at the time, I don't think had been seen. I mean, he really played baseball in a way that was very uncommon
Yeah.
still now. He had a very unique way of playing, but I think there's that wildness of the way he played combined with that just sheer precision. It's a really cool combination
Truly,
to
truly,
see. Yeah.
truly. I have to say that as much as I would love to wax poetically about Roberto Clemente, the baseball player, for the entire interview, it is the stuff that we see behind the scenes, behind
Yeah.
his athletic achievements, and the people that you bring into this project
Yep.
is that is makes it just elevates it so much. You have his three sons as executive producers. You have his teammates talking about him. People, some, we have Bob Costas. We have a lot of people who know
Yeah.
baseball, but it's the other stuff. It's the stuff
Yeah.
that rounds out him as a person.
I'm not a baseball guy. I'm not a baseball nut. I don't, I came, I was very bad at baseball as a kid, and was not into the statistics or really anything, but I was so moved by who he was off the field. I mean, that was what kept me going throughout the whole process. That was the guiding light was, yes, the baseball, we know that's going to be fun. We know that's going to be exciting, but let's find out who he was when the cameras weren't on him and when he wasn't in the spotlight.
Well, let's talk about how important, for obvious reasons and not so obvious reasons, why the country of, well, the territory of Puerto Rico from where he came, how much it was front and center for him in his life.
I think I grew to in the making of this film, like just like that was his number one identity, was not as a baseball player first, but as a Puerto Rican. And I felt so lucky, to I'm not Puerto Rican, but to, work with the family and sort of learn just what that means, and how sort of core that was to his identity. There's no Roberto Clemente without Puerto Rico. And like I think Puerto Rico just shaped who he was as a person, who he was as a player, just everything about him. I went there for the film, and it is just such a magnificent, stunning place, and the citizens of Puerto Rico are just such. I don't know. It's just really hard to put into words. You just go and you just feel this incredible beauty and history and culture, and it's just so, yeah, it's really remarkable. I think especially, as a Pittsburgher coming from a city that's, the Northeast and is an post-industrial city, and it's cold and gray here, and then you go to Puerto Rico and there's just this history and this
Yeah.
lineage, and it's just so rich.
It is. I was fortunate to spend about a week in Puerto Rico
Oh,
a few
cool.
years ago,
Cool.
and I concur. It is. It's a special place, physically a beautiful, beautiful place. But the people were wonderful, inviting and
Hmm.
friendly and
Yeah.
outgoing, proud of their country. There's a
Yeah.
lot of pride that I
Yeah.
saw in that. Very impressive place. So I concur. I absolutely
Yeah.
agree.
Such a core tenet of the man who was Roberto Clemente.
Just want to remind our listeners we're speaking with the director of this wonderful documentary film called Clemente, and that would be David Altrogge. I mentioned the executive producers being three of them being his son. You also have Richard Linklater
Yep.
involved in this, but there are others. His wife Vera, the people that we get to meet who got to know Roberto maybe for an afternoon, but that
Yep.
extended into a lifelong friendship. Beautiful, beautiful. I'm so glad. I don't know how you found these people. It's just, as you said at the beginning of our conversation, to be able to say to your son, there are good people doing great
Yes.
things. And
Yes.
but and there's so many examples of that in the film. Tell me a little bit about how you kind of found these people, other than we know his wife, Vera, but otherwise just bringing
Yeah,
them into
no,
the conversation.
yeah, no. I mean, some of them, it's just a whole. It was, when you make a documentary, I'm a big believer in casting the net wide, especially for a story like this. So early on, we put out a call in a local newspaper, just saying, hey, if you have Clemente stories, shoot us an email, and we got a bunch of really great emails and found some really great stories through that email. That article that went out. The Clemente family introduced us to some friends of Roberto and family friends who agreed to be in the film. Like I mentioned, Dwayne Reeder, who runs the Clemente Museum. I mean, he introduced me to so many people. I'm so grateful. is also just an incredibly generous person, and so he sort of opened up his Rolodex and was like, here are people you should talk to. It was just really, so it was kind of just word of mouth. You start getting the word out there, and there are small Clemente circles, and the word starts to spread that a documentary is being made, and yeah, so it was all very organic, and it's the way I make films is tends to be very organic. I don't usually go in with a grand plan. I just we'll have a list of some people I want to talk to, and then just see where it goes.
Well, I think that's a tribute to filmmakers in general, but in particular documentary filmmakers. You can't know completely where it will end up, but
Yeah.
oftentimes it's that recognizing a good thread,
Yep.
something you
That's
can
right.
really sink your teeth into and following it. That's the important part. You follow your instincts, and I think
Yeah.
that's the thing that I've always admired about documentary
Yeah.
filmmaking is that.
Yeah. I mean, so much of it is persistence, because there's nothing easy about making documentaries. And yeah, just keeping an open mind and sort of an open vision, and having your sort of guiding North Star, but then also keeping being remaining open to what the film is going to become.
I'm going to geek for a second on baseball. Two
Would you
things that are,
Yeah.
and this will be it. Two things that I wanted to bring in about the baseball side of this. And one of them is that he was on the field when the first all black or
Right.
all at least minority black lineup in the
Yeah.
history of baseball. That was in June of, I think, 1971. And then also the story about Bob Gibson and him
Yeah. What a great
it was a
story.
different era.
Yeah.
You wouldn't get away with that today, but it also sounds so true to that era of
Yeah.
baseball.
I mean, yeah, baseball was a rough and tumble business back in the day. This was back in the day when baseball players were not cajillionaires, and they were working class dudes, and
Right.
they could get
Yeah.
it could get gnarly on the field.
It could. It's a great story. I won't say anything more except that Bob Gibson, if there were a poster for that kind of baseball player, Bob Gibson would be on the poster.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay. He
yeah.
would be the guy.
What
You
a
would put,
pitcher though. What a pitcher though. What an arm. I mean, talk
you know.
about, you had to just be like Clemente, like he could be real, like he was a fighter on the field, man. Like as far as like not that he fought, but he'd get into it with people. He
Yeah.
was he was
Yeah.
not there to mess around.
It's a real pleasure. It's a joy
Oh
to
man,
watch this
Mike,
film.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and I hope you can go see it in theaters. Are you in Los Angeles?
Yes, I am.
It,
Yes.
it'll be playing. There is a screen in Los Angeles where it's playing in theaters starting on September 12th. You can go to the website www.clemente.film. There's showtimes. Get your listeners to go to it, man. Get your friends to go to it. Get your little league team to go to it. It's needs to be seen in a theater.
I agree. I agree. And if you care about baseball, if you care about good human beings, this is a great documentary for
Yeah.
you to watch. And the way he lived his life and the way his life ended are a testament to that. Well, thank you. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
Mike, thanks so much. I appreciate it.
Once again, our guest today, the director of this terrific documentary film, Clemente, David Altrogge.
Thanks for having me.